I came to America in, I think it was 1987 or 88, after I'd had a big spiritual awakening back in Denmark, which is where I'm from. And I went through a very, very challenging time after that. And I reached out to, I found a woman in America who had known Joel Goldsmith when he was still alive. He passed in 64. And the reason I had my big opening was because I was reading a book of Joel's, and that changed my life 100%. So I was going through this hardship, and through various ways, there was no email or cell phones those days, but I found that there was a woman in California who had known Joel and who was teaching like he was, not at the same level at all, but she was taking it on and had a group here in California. So I contacted her and I decided to come to America, to California, because I needed help. I was in a big, big mess. I went from the highest heavens to the lowest hell, and I really needed help on my spiritual journey. So anyway, I came, and she gave me one of the tapes of Jules to start listening to every day. And the name of that tape is The Deep Silence of My Peace. And there was one specific statement in there where he says, drop all concern. Drop all concern. Just take that in for a moment, and you might go like, how do you do that, right? Like, how do you drop your concern? It's something we carry with us all the time, most of us, most of the time. And it's not something you can just drop. Nobody taught us how to do that. We're taught to, basically worry and be concerned and, and try and make it in this world. So listening to his tape was unbelievable. And I will put the link to this tape. You can listen to it on YouTube. This is back from the 50s, by the way, but truth is ageless. It carries on. So, and I still listen to that tape, which, well, not a tape anymore today. I just listen to it on YouTube because it helps me. If I start getting concerned about something, I know where to go, because the way Joel talks about it, he really takes you into this place with biblical quotes. If you are, used to reading the Bible, then it might be soothing for you. I'm not. I don't read the Bible. I just don't. I never did. But I did read what Joel talks about from the Bible. So I took it through him, where it had come alive. He had really realized the truth of it. So on this tape, he talks about, I go before you to make the crooked places straight. And I know your needs before you do. And it is my pleasure to give it to you. So there's these little quotes. It's funny, as I speak that, I can just feel a peace descending right away. And that's really how powerful it is when you just take that moment and see if you can drop all concern. And then you kind of notice, well, what is here when I'm not being concerned? And the reason I wanted to just mention that today is because in my meditation group, it's a Joel Goldsmith meditation group, there was this little quote that was shared the other day, and I'm just moved to read it here, and then we can kind of take it to the next part of the drop all concern. So, if you want to, if you can, just close your eyes for a moment, and I'm just going to read this to you. And it's very short, but just see if you can take it in and see where it goes for you. The moment we drop our human concerns, we have opened the door to God, to the receptivity, to the divine presence that goes before us and makes the crooked places straight. And then he says, that is all it takes. One little moment of dedication, one little moment of opening consciousness to this truth, and then realizing that what happens in this now moment, in this now, is a continuing experience. It never stops, and it never will. So basically, he says it just takes one little moment of dedication. And when we drop our concern, and of course, the concern is for the outer world. What's happening there? What do we need to do? Am I going to be safe? Am I going to have enough money to pay my rent? On it goes. That's the concern. And the way the world is right now, there is so much going on. I mean, it has been for years, but it looks like there's some serious things that could happen around the corner. So I know that a lot of people are very concerned. And the last thing you think about when you're really concerned, is there going to be a third world war? Is there going to be this? Is there going to be that? The last thing you think about is to drop the concern. You naturally concern about it. But just from a practical point of view, what good does it do to concern ourselves with that? And I'm not trying to be smart ass here or anything like that. I'm just really posing the question, what good does it actually do to go and concern about things all the time? And for most of us, it's a very automatic default pattern. So it's not even something we do consciously. So it's not just something, we can drop, but we can just question it and say, well, would it be okay just to drop it for a moment? Like Joel says, one moment of dedication and just dropping it. And then maybe go to a quote. It doesn't have to be a Bible quote. You may have one that really resonates with you, that helps you feel at peace. And those are the ones we need to use, because we want to get to the place where we can drop it, because there's something bigger to lean back into, or to rest in, to be held in. So for a moment, would you be willing to drop any concern? If you have any, if you don't have any concern, that's great. I love it. But if you do, whether it's a small or a big one, let's just try for a moment and just see if you can drop it. Could you just leave it there? I've talked about not touching it. I've talked about that a lot. There's a video you can watch about that. So what would happen if you just drop it for a moment and don't touch it? Is that okay? Does that feel okay for you? Or even, can you even do that? Or is the pattern so strong that you can't? But just one moment of dedication. It's just, if you can just say, if I can just, I'm willing to do it just for half a second or 2 seconds, but then I want to pick up my concern again. So it's just that one moment that Joel talks about, one moment of dedication, of willingness to just drop the concern. And then maybe replace it with something like, I go before you to make the crooked places straight. To me, the crooked places are all the things we do in our mind. But that, of course, manifests on the outside. So, what is it like to just drop it and just say, I know your needs before you do. And it is my good pleasure to give it to you. Can you just feel, just for a moment, like, oh, and then you're dropping into the moment here now, and you have a different experience. And this experience of now that I've also talked a lot about, you might enjoy the little poem that I made a video of. This now moment continues and continues because there is only now. And if we can just, for this short now moment, drop the concern and just like, okay, my needs are met by this moment, but I have been focusing out there on my concerns. So I haven't been focusing here where the needs are met. So would it be possible to just do that just for a moment? Like now. I go before you. I create a place for you. I know your needs before you even do yourself. And it is my great pleasure to fulfill them. Just notice if you can just take maybe a nice relaxing breath when you hear that, and just let yourself fall into this now moment. And let it have you. Instead of you touching what you're concerned about, let yourself be touched by this now moment and see what happens. Thank you.